Hello everyone and welcome to this coding session. Okay, so I'm going to try to build a model using transfer learning so that I can classify the CIFAR-10 dataset. Okay, so I'm going to use Keras applications. I'm going to use pre-trained model, and then I'm going to use fine-tuning to try to improve my accuracy. Okay, so let us start. So first of all, I'm going to use a powerful machine. So I'm working with Colab here. I'm going to make sure that I'm using GPU. Okay, so I'm on GPU. Okay, so I'm switching the TensorFlow version because we need in this project, because it specifies that we need TensorFlow 1. Okay, so this is for TensorFlow, and then I'm going to import the libraries. Okay, so I'm going to start with the data process. Okay, so first of all, I'm dealing with CIFAR-10 dataset, so I'm going to see what it's about. Okay, so the CIFAR-10 dataset consists of 60,000 of colored images. Okay, so the size of each image is 32 by 32 by 3 because we have RGB colors. Okay, then we have 10 classes. So the classes contains, for example, birds, cats, dogs, frogs, etc. Okay, so we have different types of objects in these images. We have 15,000 of training images and 10,000 of test images. Okay. Okay, so this is my dataset. I'm going to load this dataset from Keras. Okay, so I'm going to call xtrain and ytrain, and then x test and y test. Okay, so this is equals to k dot datasets dot CIFAR-10 dot load data. Okay, so this is my data. So let's explore these data. Let's make sure of the shapes. So we have xtrain with shape, as we said, 50,000, and it's 32 by 32 by 3. Okay, so let us see how is the values inside one image. Okay, for example, the first one. Okay, so these are the value of pixels. Okay, and now for example, ytrain. Okay, so we have an integer for each image. Okay, for example, let us see the first one. Okay, so we have, for example, here the first one is 6, is labeled as 6. So let's see the 6, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's frog. Okay. Okay, so the first thing to notice here is that we need to include our y. Okay, so we won't be able to fit our model with these integers. Okay, we need to construct vectors with 0 or 1's values. Okay, and then we need to normalize the values inside the xtrain. Okay, so for example, one way to do this is to divide the value of pixels by 255. Okay, so 255 is the maximum value of pixel. Okay, so this is the classic way to do the processing of the data. Okay, but in our case, we are going to fit these data to a Bayes model. Okay, so it's a Bayes pre-trained model with another dataset, for example, the ImageNet dataset. So the Bayes model is expecting a specific type of processing to the data. Okay, so the pre-process input function is meant to adequate your image to the format the model requires. Okay, so for example, some models use images with values ranging from 0 to 1, others from -1 to +1, etc. Okay, so you need to know your pre-trained model, what does he expect, and then you process your data. Okay, so for this I'm going to choose the model, the pre-trained model that I'm going to use. Okay, so we are going to use the Keras applications. Okay, so these are models that are trained on the ImageNet dataset. Okay, so we have the ResNet 50 that you already know, the DanceNet, etc. Okay, so here my advice to you is to not choose a very big or overly complex model, because that can usually overfit your trained data. Okay, so the complex models can give too much importance to small changes in features, and when it sees new data, it will overreact and perform poorly. Okay, so for example, if you have a small data, a small number of input, it will be very risky to use a very complicated model. Okay, so to be honest, I tried ResNet 50, I tried DanceNet 121, okay, and I tried Inception ResNet v2. So the best model, the best accuracy that I had is with Inception ResNet version 2. Okay, so I'm going to choose this model. So it is pre-trained with ImageNet dataset. Okay, so the ImageNet dataset, let us see it, because we need to have the same type of input as the one that we are dealing with. Okay, so it should be related to our problem, and it is related to our problem because we have different type of objects here. Okay, so it should be a nice thing to do transfer learning through over these model. Okay, so note that each Keras application expects a specific kind of input pre-processing. So for this model, we should call this function the pre-processed input function specified to this model, so that it can pre-process our input the same way that the pre-trained model expected. Okay, so to pre-process our model, we need this function. Okay, so this function will be used for the input. Let me define a function that called pre-process data. It will take the x and y, so I'm going to pre-process both the input and the output. Okay, so my pre-processed data, I'm going to call it x. Okay, so x is going to use this function that is ready to be applied to my input. Okay, and then I will apply it to my x. Okay, so for the y, like I said, is to encode my my output. So the best function to do this is to use utils dot to categorical. Okay, so we have to she has the argument of y and the number of classes. Okay, so this is will give us a vector for each symbol that contains zeros and one in the right column. Okay, and then I will return my new preprocessed data. Okay, so this is for preprocessed data. I'm going to apply this function for my data. Okay, so let me call it xtrain and ytrain equals to preprocess data, and then I will give it the xtrain and my ytrain. This is the same thing for the test. Okay, so this is my new data. Okay, so let us see what's happened here for xtrain, what changes. Okay, we have for the first image, for example, okay, so we have new values that are I don't know, that are normalized the same way that the pre-trained model is expected. Okay, expecting, sorry. Okay, so this is for xtrain. For okay, for ytrain. Okay, so for ytrain, I am having a vector with 0 and 1s and 1 in the sixth column. Okay, so this is exactly what I needed. Okay, let us see if the shape of the xtrain has changed. Okay, so the shape did not change. Okay, so this function did not rescale or resize my images. Okay, so this is very important because it's only pre-processed the value of my inputs. Okay, but it doesn't reshape or resize my images. Okay. Okay, now let's move on. After pre-process my data, I'm going to start the transfer learning. Okay, so this is the most important part. Okay, so the transfer learning. Okay, so the first thing to do is to create my base model, which is taken from keras.applications. Sorry. Let us see how it's written. Okay, so Inception ResNet v2. Okay, so what it has as arguments, it will have the include top, true or false, the weights, the input tensor, input shape, the pooling, the classes, the classifier activation. Okay, so I'm going to set the include top equals to false because I don't want to include the top dense layer. Okay, I just want the feature extractor part, so this is false. Okay, after this I have the input shape. Okay, the input shape will be a value between 75 and 299. Okay, so it expects a value or a shape between these two values. Okay, so you have to choose one. I'm going to choose the this one. Okay, so to be honest, I tried the 150, but I had a better result with this shape. Okay, so in fact, what we meant by this shape is that, for example, here this value would be one valid value, okay, but less. For example, in our case, we have 32 as shape for the image. It's not valid, so we have to resize or rescale our images. Okay. So after having this choice of input shape, okay, so this is the pooling equals to none. So the pooling, say, it's for saying if I'm going to let the max pooling or the average pooling layers, or I'm going to remove it with the classification part. Okay, so I'm not going to take the pooling layer, but I'm going to add it later on. Okay, this is for my base model. Okay, okay, so wait, I forgot to put the weights that I needed is the weights of the ImageNet. Okay, I don't know the default value of weights. I think it's okay, so the default value is ImageNet, so it's not that big deal if I don't put it. Okay, so I'm by writing weights equals to ImageNet is that I need the weight trained with the ImageNet dataset. Okay, so this is my base model. Okay. Okay, let us see what this base model has as layers. Okay, it's still running here. Okay. Okay, so the last layer is a convolution layer. So I don't have a dense layer or a flatten layer or an average pooling layer, but I need it later on, okay, to flatten my convolution layers. Okay, and this is the output of the convolution layer. The output is an 8x8 as shape. Okay, so this is my base model that I'm going to use. Now the next step is to create my new model on top. Okay, so I'm going to add a new model or a few other layers on top of this base model. Okay, so I'm going to start with inputs equals to k dot input. Okay, so I have the shape of my input equals to my shape of X-train, which is of the images, which is 32 by 32 by 3. Okay, so this is my input that I'm going to fit my model with. Okay, so now, as I said, the CIFAR10 dataset contains these 32 by 32 pixel images, but the Keras application that I used or the other Keras applications are trained on much larger images. Okay, so the first thing to do is to add the first layer as a lambda layer that will scale up the data to the correct size. Okay, so here I'm going to call it, for example, the input. Okay, so this is the input, the size of my images, and this is the first layer that my model will have, k dot layers dot lambda, and it will have for each image, let me call it image, it will apply the function from TensorFlow called resize. So it's image.resize. It will have the image that I want to resize, and then the new shape that you want. Okay, so this is my new shape that the base model is expecting. Okay, then I will apply to it the previous inputs. Okay, so this is one way to do it with TensorFlow function. Another way to do is using this Keras backend resize that is mentioned in your project. Okay, so the only difference here is that you are going to use the factor that you will resize your image with. Okay, so for example, if you have an image 32 by 32 and you want it to be 299, you will have a height factor equals to 299 divided by 32. Okay, so this is the only difference. Okay, now after rescaling my image, the next things to do is to put my base model layers. Okay, so my base model layers will have each input that will resize my inputs, and then I'm going to make sure that the training is equals to false. Okay, so I don't want the weights of my base model layers to be touched or modified. Okay, so these weights won't be updated. Okay, so I want to freeze the feature extractor layers. Okay, so this is my base model layers. Now I'm going to add my fully connected layers, but before this I should have a flattened layer or a global average pooling layer. So I'm going to add my global average pooling layer. Okay, and the layer X. Okay, after that I'm going to add my fully connected layers. So I'm going to add several or just one layers. I choose to add two layers. Okay, the first one will have 500 units with an activation equals to review. Okay, and it will get the X layer. Okay, and then I will have my output layer. Which is the last layer that will be doing the production. Okay, so it should have the number of classes as units, and the activation should be the softmax because you have a multi-classification problem. Okay. Okay, now I start with adding only one layer, only the output layer after the global average pooling layer. Okay, it gives me a good result, but then when I add this layer, the result was a little bit better. Okay, so I added, and then if I added a third layer, the results won't be improved anymore. Okay, so I choose to let it with these two layers. I'm going to add a dropout so it won't overfit. So I'm going to put it, for example, 0.3. Okay, so this is my layers. Now the last steps is to construct my model that will be trained. I'm going to call it model. It's going to have the inputs, the first inputs, and then the last outputs. Okay, so this is my model. Okay, what's wrong here? Okay, I don't have the D. Okay, I didn't put the previous layer here. Okay, I don't have the N here. That should works. Okay, it works. This is my model that it has freezing base model layers and then my fully connected layers that I add. Okay. Okay. Now the first thing to do is to train only the top layers which were randomly initialized. Okay. To do this, I'm going to make sure that my base model is freezed. Okay, so it's freezed. Then I'm going to choose my optimizer. Okay, let's say optimizer is Adam, for example. So k.optimizer Adam. Okay. Okay, so the next thing is to compile the model. So this compiling should be done after setting the layers to non-trainable. Okay. So my model dot compile. So my loss function is going to be categorical because I have a multi-classification problem. Okay, and then my optimizer will be the optimizer Adam. Okay, then my matrix. Okay, so I'm going to compile my model. Sorry. Okay. Okay, so this is my model compiled. Okay, so now I'm going to feed my model with my new data. Okay, so model dot fit my X train, my Y train, my validation data will be my X test, my batch size will be 300, for example, my epochs. Okay, so now I need to train it with a few epochs, okay, because I don't have that much layers. So if I put, for example, 10 or 20, it might overfit. Okay, so I'm going to put, for example, 4. I think 4 is enough to train my 2 or 3 layers. Okay, and then verbose equals to 1. Okay, so if you have transfer learning, you don't need to train your dense layer with a high number of epochs. Okay, so this is the fitting. This might take a little long. Okay, so I'm going to return to you when it's done. Okay, so it's been 30 minutes and until now we have a pretty good accuracy, okay, for both training accuracy and validation accuracy. We have a low loss for both validation and training, which is a good thing. We don't have an overfitting. Okay, so the results is equals to model evaluate of the X test and the Y test, and then I'm going to print the results, the test loss and then the test accuracy. Okay, so the results of transfer learning isn't that bad. In fact, it's a good results until now. We are going to just try fine tuning and see if it gets better or not. Okay. So here we have the evaluation. Okay, so it should be the same as the last validation accuracy. Okay. So 91 as accuracy, it's a good accuracy, knowing that you have a low loss and you don't have an overfitting. Okay, so it's a good result. Okay, so I'm going to wait for the final evaluation of our model, but in the meanwhile I'm going to explain to you the steps of fine-tuning. Okay, so at this point the top layers are well trained and we can start fine-tuning convolution layers from Inception ResNet v2. Okay, so we will freeze the bottom I don't know n layers and train the remaining top layers. Okay, so first of all, we are going to add a network on top of an already trained Bayes network. This is what we already done. Okay, so now we have the accuracy equals to 91, which is a good accuracy. Okay, and we have a low loss, so all seems good. Okay. Okay, so like I was saying, we add the network on top of an already trained Bayes network. This is what we already done with transfer learning. Then we freeze the Bayes network. This is what we done with trainable equals to false. The third step is to train the parts you added. This is what we done by training only the dense layer and the fully connected layer. Okay. Okay, so all these we already done it with transfer learning. Now the new thing is to unfreeze some layers in the Bayes network. Okay, so we are going to choose the number of layers that we are going to unfreeze, and then we jointly train both these layers and the part you added. Okay, so at this time we are going to train both the unfreezing layer from the Bayes model and the layer we added. But it's important to know that we only do these two steps after doing all these steps, after training the part we added in the model. Okay, so we have to train it first, the fully connected layer that we add, and then unfreeze some layers and then retrain both and unfreezed layers and the part we added. Okay, so some of you did the fourth and fifth steps without doing the others. Okay, without training only the last part and then unfreeze and train both the added model and the unfreezed layer. Okay, so I think this won't they won't have good results, and it risks to have an overfitting. Okay, so we will try to code these steps. Okay, so what we need to do is to unfreeze some layers and to train both these layers and the part we added. Okay, but the problem here is how many layers should we unfreeze? To see that clearly, I'm going to try to plot the model. Okay, so I'm going to import from TensorFlow Okay, so the model is plotted right here. Okay, so this is the Bayes model. Okay, so all these are the layers of the model. Okay. Okay, so we are going to choose from the top layers the one that we need to unfreeze. Okay, so for example, this is a block called block 8,9. This is another block, this is another block. Okay, let's say that we want to unfreeze from Okay, so from nearest to the middle, let's say here. Okay, for example, we want to freeze the layer, the block 78. Okay, this block. Now you want to see what is the number of layer of this block. Okay, so to do this, I'm going to do a loop over the layer. Okay, so it's a loop over the layers of the base model. And I'm going to print the number of layer and the name of the layer. Okay, so these are the name of the layers. So we said we want 17 and 8. Okay, so this is 17 and 2. This is 3. Okay, so 5, 6, 7, and this is the 8. Okay, so we have this convolution. We want to take it from the activation function. Okay, so the number of the layer is for 0, 2. Okay, so this is the layer that we choose. So from this layer to the top, we will unfreeze all these and retrain it with the fully connected layer. So this part will remain freezed. Okay, let's try it. So this is a choice. Okay, you should try different layers to unfreeze different layers and see what works better. Okay, so of course it will depend on your data set. If you have enough data and computation power, you can unfreeze more layers and retrain the model. Okay, so let's start to unfreeze some layers. Okay, now so for freeze the layers before this number of layer that we choose. Okay, so I'm going to loop over the layers. So from all the layers until 402. So all these I'm going to freeze them. Layer dot trainable equals to false. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing but to unfreeze the last layers. Okay, so this is the opposite until the end, and then I'm going to unfreeze them. True. Okay, so this is for freezing these layers and unfreezing the layers from 402 until the end. Okay, now after freezing and unfreezing the specific layers, we need to recompile the model for these modifications to take effect. Okay, so we are going to recompile our model. So the model will take on consideration the layers that are unfreezed. Okay, so for this I'm going to choose an optimizer equals to Adam, but this time optimizer. This time I'm going to choose a very low rate. Okay, so we need to compile the model with a low learning rate, otherwise it will change a lot the weights that are already pre-trained, and it will destroy the knowledge that we already gain from the pre-trained model. Okay, so I'm going to choose, for example, this learning rate. Okay, so this is for the optimizer. Now we are going to compile our model. Okay, so it's very important to compile the model, otherwise the modification that we did won't be considered. Okay, so I'm going to choose as usual the categorical, and then the optimizer will be my optimizer that I already write. Okay, so it's going to be the optimizer, and then the metric will be the accuracy. Okay, so this is for the compile the model. Okay, so the last step will be the fit to fit the model. Okay, so model. Okay, let's call it as usual history equals to model dot fit. Okay, so we are going to choose X-train, Y-train, not to choose, in fact, to put, and validation is going to be the X-test, Y-test. Okay, so the batch size is going to be like the previous batch size, 300. And finally, I'm going to take the same epochs. Okay, so I won't train it a lot to not destroy the information that I already have from the pre-trained model. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to fit my model. It's going to take time. So I will return to you when it's done, okay? Okay, so as we can see, the validation accuracy reach 92 as accuracy, so it's a good accuracy. Okay, so as expected, the fine-tuning improves the performance of the model. Okay, so it increases the accuracy, and we have here a low loss, and we don't have an overfitting, which is a good thing. Okay, so maybe if we try to freeze a little more layers, maybe we will have good results. And maybe not, okay, maybe we will have an overfitting, but we can't know unless we try, okay? So at this point, all seems good. We have a good accuracy, okay? So compared to, for example, another models that are built from scratch for the classification of CIFAR 10, we can say that we have a pretty good performance with transfer learning. Okay, so for example, I found this one here that explains how to develop a CNN from scratch for CIFAR 10, and they have an accuracy equals to okay, it's equals to 73. Okay, so if you are building from scratch, you will have these low accuracy, but with transfer learning you have a very impressive performance. Okay, so as you can see, transfer learning is very important for computer vision. Okay, so if you have the same related input as the pre-trained model from Keras or TensorFlow, you can directly go and use transfer learning. Okay. Okay, so that's it for the coding session. I hope that that's been helpful for you. Please, if you have any question, don't hesitate to ask it.